Welcome back. Our final conversation this morning is about the 7th Annual Leadercast. We have with us virtually the Managing Director and Lead Consultant for Chamberlain Consulting, Dr. Dionne Chamberlain. Good morning. We also have with us the Chief Coordination Consultant, also at Chamberlain Consulting, Trudy Joseph, and of course the Chief Executive Officer at Night and Day Studios, Kenneth Grant. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
The 7th Annual Leadercast. First of all, explain to our viewers what Leadercast is and of course what they can expect from this year's event.
That's you, Trudy?
Yeah, I was like, is that me?
Go ahead.
Well, actually, Leadercast is broadcasted worldwide, and generally it is done on one day. But due to the effects of COVID, we are actually doing it after the live event or the date of that event.
Okay.
And that is because we wanted to ensure that we were doing it safely. Originally, we wanted to ensure that we would be able to do an in-person session because, I mean, it's much more exciting. There's much more networking, but keeping everyone safe, we decided that we're going to go ahead and do it virtually. This is our second virtual year. And so Leadercast is just about bringing leaders together. And of course, at Chamberlain Consulting, we let everyone know that leadership is an action and not a position. So it's geared towards anyone that wants to sharpen their leadership skill. You may not be sure if you're an actual leader. This is an excellent place for you to come, where this year you can listen to 12 leaders speak about varying topics. Just to say that this year, the topic is actually shift. And you know that with COVID-19, there's so much shift that you need to do in order for you to remain relevant, but for you to understand how easy it is for you to actually stray or how easy it is for you to become the better you. So Leadercast is just a platform for people to come together to equip their leadership skills, to determine whether or not there are areas that they need to work more on. But more than anything else, it's networking and to be with like-minded leaders. And so that is Leadercast, and that is why we have Leadercast here in Belize, brought to you by Chamberlain Consulting and our sponsors.
Okay. Now let's talk about hosting Leadercast in a pandemic. It's, I think people are Zoomed out and webinared out. What makes you think this is one that they're gonna want to log into?
I honestly think that Leadercast is one of those events that it captures you as you are watching online or in person. It really speaks to you. It's very strange, but as you are sitting in that room and you're listening to these 12 amazing speakers, you feel that they are speaking directly to you. And as Trudy mentioned, Leadercast is where leaders come to recharge. You don't come there to become a leader. So you are coming there because you feel a bit burnt out, a bit tired, and wanting to fill your proverbial bucket. So for me, for instance, that's why I attend and host Leadercast, because I know that there's a leadership deficit in our country, but there's also where we're all giving. And if you look in any room, Marlene, it's the same group of people who are going to be volunteering on boards, giving back to society, donating their time, spending time with others. And so Leadercast is really that opportunity where you fill your bucket. And as you listen to the stories and they start resonating with you, and this year's theme being shift, all of us need to pivot or perish. And so we need to understand that we need to shift from the status quo. We cannot be stuck in the rut and thinking that life is going to remain the same. We talk about the new normal. Every day is a new normal. So let's just call it normal. Moving, shifting. It's really all about what Darwin said. It is not the most intelligent of the species that will survive, but it's those who are most flexible. And so that is what Leadercast is all about, us being flexible, moving, shifting, and being our best selves so that we can have success within this very tumultuous environment. Because if we didn't want to live in chaos, we obviously chose the wrong planet to be born on.
How beneficial is this in terms of either the exchange of ideas or the soaking up, if I may, or the absorption of new knowledge in terms of leadership and being able to interact with people at that level?
Well,
I
we
think
will
Kenneth could answer
actually
that, being a
set up.
sponsor. How does, Kenneth, I know that every year you take off your day to be at Leadercast. So how is it for you? Tell us the reality.
Well, for me, Leadercast, I've noticed the themes that they've chosen each year is reflective for the year. The year before was positive disruption. That's when we had the COVID pandemic, which we are still going through, and now it's about shifting your ideas, shifting the way that you do things. And besides that, the speakers that come on speak to each person individually based on different things that you're experiencing. They talk about their experience, the solutions that they use to solve these problems through what they go through. And because you're going through similar things, you can actually get these informations from them and listening to how they deal with these issues. For me, I like being able to get these information and to see that just because we're in Belize doesn't mean that persons abroad aren't having the same issues that we have, whether it be from the height down to the regular level of your job or where you workplace. And the second part for me is also the name Leadercast, leader, building yourself. We all want to have more leaders in our country, and that's why I partake in it, to be a leader in what I do, the people that I meet, and also to go around other persons who are of the same mindset, I should say.
That is interesting because more often than not, when we think leaders, we think either political leaders, church leaders, community leaders, but we're not necessarily looking at or reflecting on leadership in the workplace per se, because we also look at the fact that, well, there's only one boss, right? You don't look at the idea that, you could still be able to learn certain traits or qualities by attending this kind of session. Talk to us about that, Dionne.
Well, first of all, we are leaders of our own bodies because we are the CEO of our bodies, and how we take care of our bodies in the way we eat, the way we drink, even for this COVID pandemic, we will decide our own futures. I mean, by washing our hands, by social distancing, by taking vaccines, by taking care of ourselves. We, as our leadership, decide what will be the end as best as we can. So we put our best foot forward, working towards success, and then we achieve it. But if we just sit back and do nothing, then nothing absolutely occurs. So looking at it on that perspective, Kenneth mentioned in the workplace, and in the workplace, we have to understand that there's leadership and there's followership. And there's a time when a leader has to step back and follow and allow their teams to take over and take us to the next level so that we can see the strengths that they bring to the table. So good leaders don't only manipulate the stage and want to be in the limelight. Leaders have to understand that their people are capable. That is what succession planning is about, preparing others. And so sharing these leadership qualities with your teams is very important at the same time. So we start off leading self, then we start off, we run and lead our own homes. We have budgets, we manage. We're just like CEOs or big leaders in any company out there. And how we guide and how we push ourselves forward and how we grow is going to be the difference for a lot of us. Because if we're not growing and learning and sharpening our saw, like Trudy mentioned, then we're stalemating and rotting. And so we have to keep progressing as a nation and contributing as a nation. And when Kenneth talked about leadership and having a community and being around like minds, last year at Leadership, we learned that yes, teamwork is important, but belongship is important, where you create that niche and that belonging with a community. So say, for instance, all of our sponsors that we have right now, Night and Day is a sponsor of this event, but Night and Day is one of our biggest partners in terms of our communication and visibility strategies that we do. So we make sure that we're always doing business with each other. And so we'll always care for each other in that way. The Best Western, Biltmore Plaza, again, they care for us and they'll take care of us. Galen University as a partner in education, a partner. Again, Belongship, we will support that school no matter what. Digi, Madisco, we do business with them when we were doing food packages for the poor, when we were doing during the pandemic last year. That is where we get our food from. Atlantic Bank, we support them. Sol, Smart, Avant-Garde. I mean, Avant-Garde is a production company, and they'll be the ones helping us to stream and bring Leadercast live from a tiny room in Biltmore. And then we have Belize Electricity Limited, who, I mean, again, has partnered with us and been with us together for years and years. So all of these people, and Angelos Press, being there, supporting us, being a part of everything that we do. It's absolutely important that we create that belongship, that community where we support each other in business, in finances, in the money that we spend, in recommendations, in referrals. Because leadership is about belonging to a community, because if you're not a part of a community, then you're merely operating as a commodity, and that's not going to make you successful if you don't value the people in your space and the people around you. Like we value you all for having us on this show, because we're not trying to sell tickets here. We are trying to sell a message and create critical mass. So thank you both for allowing us into your space.
No, and I was going to say, I think that, you know, there is always room for people to experience something like this, and it helps them, whether personally or within their own households, their communities, their workplace. Very often people think leadership is based on a position, but it really is about your approach in life. You can be a leader in a positive way. But bringing it back though, when we talk about Leadercast, and you have a great lineup that I want to talk about a bit more, but do you think we'll ever see the day that we see Belizeans on platforms like that showcasing their own unique stories? Because it's also, something I'm sure that would resonate even more with participants in Belize.
Well, just to be honest with you, Janelle Mencias actually became a franchise owner to TEDx. I guess it was 3 years ago, and she actually held that event. I'm not sure if she still owns the franchise, but that franchise allows you to insert and incorporate. And for Leadercast as well, we've invited and invite others to jump in. In fact, we have moderated sessions where as the speakers speak, we have leaders jump in and offer their solutions, which is one of the reasons why we have the leader worth following. Because the leader worth following that is chosen every year are people in Belize who have done great things. Dara was the first in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, there was Pedro Perez 2017, moving right through to and this year we're so excited because people have stepped up in their leadership during this time. And so, yes, Belizeans do play a role. We'd love to see more of that. And we'd love to create that platform. So I encourage Janelle, and we'd love to also assist her if she wants to continue, because you need a platform and a franchise to do it. We actually applied for it, but we weren't able to get that.
So let's
I also
talk.
wanted, I also wanted to mention that in our breakout sessions that we do, that is a place for people to actually speak about what their experiences are. And so we hone in on the message, but then we translate it to what it's like for us here. And so Kenneth had talked about that, where it is that a speaker can actually speak to where you currently are, and having 12 people speak about different things that are focused on shift and your personal growth allows for you to be able to, even with your team, if it is that other team members are not there, notice that this year it's going to be on a Wednesday. And that's because a lot of times it is that our participants say when it's done like on a Friday, they go home. When they come back on Monday, there's not a lot of discussions. Now the session will be in the middle of the week. So come Thursday and Friday, you still have that opportunity to be able to talk to your team about what are the topics that resonated with you. Like Ms. Dionne said, last year, all of us agreed with belongship. And so for us at Chamberlain Consulting, we adopted it right away to say that for us, we want to belong to a team and not just focus on teamwork. So that is the idea that, yes, you have the main speakers, but we also have speakers within the room who are there to participate and speak about their home experience, their work experience, and what it is like for us here in Belize.
Yeah. So Wednesday is deliberately a positive disruption.
It's a shift. It's a positive
Yeah.
shift. Yes.
And Marlene, we also follow through by sending out a weekly message every Monday morning, a leadership message. We've been doing it for 7 years now, every Monday morning. So the reality is that we try to keep the spirit alive and send out the messages. And we do this work in our corporate lives as well. So this is our volunteerism side where we're exposing. And I'm sure that everybody knows that we have scholarships available for those who don't believe that they can afford to attend. We've had students and children as young as 7, 8 years old, and our eldest attendee has been 80 years old. So remember, Leadercast is for those who just want to be inspired, recharged, and understand the different walks and challenges overcome by great leaders.
Are there still scholarships, involved, available?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
How do people apply?
Anyone who's interested can just send an email to leadercastbelize@gmail.com, and we ask for you to just send us a short message. Why is it that you would like to attend Leadercast, and why should you be selected as one of the sponsor recipient? And do note that the sponsorship is paid for by our actual sponsors. So a part of what they sponsor goes towards us being able to get additional persons to enter into the room free of charge. And remember, whatever you walk away with, that remains with you. And so I would like to mention that we do have one of the recipients that is actually a past lecturer of Gwen Lizaraga. And I just wanted to mention it because of the previous session, where it is that even though she's no longer teaching, she's retired, that for her, it's still important for her to continue to build on her leadership. And we have sessions where we have like the police officers, the nurses, we have teachers that will be together in their room, and they will be having the session along with us, and they'll be able to talk about what is occurring in their key areas. So it's very exciting. So anyone who wants to apply for a scholarship at this time, just feel free to go ahead and send an email to leadercastbelize@gmail.com, or you can text or call 672-0848.
And so,
yeah, like Trudy mentioned, we shifted and are going to have those sessions as gifts. I mean, as scholarships granted to a group of police women, a group of teachers, a group of healthcare providers, because of where we are right now.
And let me just hear from Kenneth for a moment. Kenneth, let me see if my math is right. 7 years ago, or around the time of the first Leadercast, you would have just been starting as an entrepreneur or doing it as a side business still. Tell us about the personal benefits you've gotten as you moved off onto your own business as well.
7 years ago, I was full-time.
Full-time. All right.
And each year, the benefit for me, like I mentioned, is hearing the messages from these speakers from Leadercast, and also the networking over the years. It has grown tremendously for me, and I'm glad to be a part of something like this. As my way of giving back is my talent through designing, creating the all the stuff that you see for Leadercast Belize. That's what I do to show my part as a leader.
Tell me one lesson you've learned over the years that just stays with you as an entrepreneur and managing your own business in Belize.
From Leadercast?
Yeah, from your experience.
Well, I would say listening to one of the speakers, I would say about 4 years ago, they had, I would say, trouble getting their groove back. And they had to, even at a point, renting a room from a resort or something in the States, and they decided not to give up, and they continued pushing, and eventually it led to them meeting a client right there in that resort and beginning to get their feet back on the ground and pushing forward. And there are many other stories throughout these Leadercast participants that speaks to me personally when I'm going through certain things in the year. I can't reflect or remember them, but it's just, to me, I just like that.
Yeah.
There's always that one speaker that their message is speaking to me
Yeah.
at that time or moment in my life.
And to all of you, how do you sustain? Very often when you're like injected into a moment like that, it can be really fulfilling. But the challenge comes in maintaining that level of energy after the event is over. What have you found to be some of the ways that you sustain the movement itself?
Well, I know for me, it is listening to other speakers, or like Ms. Dionne said, we have the motivation for Monday, which is sent out every single Monday. But apart from that, you have a speaker that, sorry, apologies. You have a speaker that may speak to you, and you may decide that, hereafter, this is someone that you want to continue to follow. You have podcasts now. And so for me, Andy Stanley has been someone that has really resonated with me over the years, and I continue to follow Andy Stanley. And so every year you have that additional speaker that you will continue to listen to and add on to the people, where it is that every week or every day you can take 10 minutes of your time and listen to a motivational speech. Just close your eyes and think about what it is that motivational speaker is talking to you about. And like I said, it doesn't have to be someone from outside the country. There will be people that will be speaking within the session. And I know like relationships that we have built. Let's say we look at John Gillett from Angela's Press as an example. We keep up with John and to see what are you doing at Angela's Press to make it different for you. And so those are the ways that for me throughout the year. And by the time you turn around, it will be that we're back preparing for Leadercast 2022.
Yeah. All right.
For me,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
For me,
after the session, we have a WhatsApp group, and it's throughout the year that different information is shared within that group with different opportunities, different motivation, different things to follow. And so that's how we keep in contact throughout the year. And as Trudy mentioned, before you know it, it's an next Leadercast, and we just continue, keep that vibe, keep that link through that WhatsApp group and through other, like the email, the Motivational Mondays, and different things that we get to meet one another throughout the year.
For me, it was the very first Leadercast where one of the speakers said, "What is your water?" And when she said, "What is your water?" she was meaning that many times in life we give to people what we think they want rather than what they want. And sometimes, yes, you need physical things like water and electricity in your villages, or sometimes you need clothes or different things. And so we have to look at what people really want. And for this team of leaders, we really need to feed our soul. So about 15 years ago, I decided to take a walk of what I call self-mastery. And your ikigai is what you love, what you're paid to do, what your vocation, and what your passion is. And this is my ikigai. This is my life. This is what I do in my personal life, in my professional life, in my friendship life. So Leadercast is not an event for me. It's a continuation of my journey towards self-mastery, which is definitely not a destination. It's a journey that every day I learn, and I need to belong, and I work with, and I have to ground myself, and I have to beg for forgiveness when I screw up, and I have to work on myself, and it's a continuous growth and a journey. So Leadercast is a part of that for me.
Well, fantastic. It takes place this Wednesday, so people just have to, they can still sign up to participate. They can still apply for scholarships. Trudy, give us that number again.
672-0848. And Marlene, I just want to plug in that we have awesome prizes for all of our participants. We have actually scholarships from Galen University for undergrad and graduate level. Ooh. We have printer from Angela's Press, gift baskets from Madisco, from Smart, from Digicel. So I just want to say that a part of it is just being able to know that there is a chance, apart from what you're going to get in, for you to win some fabulous prizes. And this is also a way how our sponsors give back to the members, or those who decide to take that day for them to focus and concentrate on self-mastery and building their leadership skills. So I just wanted to plug that in right there.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about it, and best of luck. And now we have to shift to close off our show. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in a few.